Hey everyone, it's Mark. Welcome back to my pit of despair. This workshop used to be the home base for my handyman business, all my projects, YouTube video, but now it is just a depressing catch-all of awfulness. We're going to start the next section of the Blazer build video. It is the middle of December. I just have one little project to do, but I figure throughout the winter there's going to be probably just little bits here and there, and I might as well just start cataloging them all, and then eventually we'll have this video spanning months. But today I'm going to reattach my rear window defroster tab that was broken off when I got the thing. I finally got this in, and you have to do it on a day that the temperature is between 50 and 75. It hit 50 degrees today, so I'm gonna go do this right now. So here's the area where the tab fell off. Here's the tab. I'm just gonna glue it on next to where it fell off and hope for the best. Said wait 1 minute and then just let it sit there for 24 hours before I hook it up. So, guess I'm done. Well, after hours and hours and hours of cleaning last week, the pit of despair is slightly less despairy. But anyway, we've got a random, pretty nice day today. It's almost 60. So I'm gonna put on these little bumper extensions, fender extension things real quick. And that's gonna be it for today, but I thought I might as well film it. Here we go. Well, that would have been a little easier if A, it didn't have these foam impact pieces behind the bumper. I had to pull those to get those out of the way so I could put in the nut. And it'd also be easier if the screws weren't like that long. So I used lock nuts so they wouldn't vibrate loose, and I had to turn them like 30 times to get the nut all the way down. But they're not coming off. It's done now. Looks a heck of a lot better. That's it for today. See you in the next clip, which might be something from tomorrow or March. Who knows? Hey everyone, welcome back. Got another Blazer project today. This is going to be a pretty long, involved one, so stick with me here. I was scrolling through eBay looking at auctions for just random Blazer stuff and came across this auction and my mind was blown. I immediately figured out why my cup holders suck so much. So I ordered it. It is in. Let's go install it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the pit of despair. It's about as bad as it was the last time I checked in with you because I had a small project for work and then I had to clean up the mess, so now we're back to zero. The reason I'm popping in today, I'm not actually doing anything to the truck, but I just wanted to show you some footage I just took. It's mid-January and I've been driving it since I think the end of November. We had our first snow and I parked the Abarth and started driving the Blazer. And look at the rust that's already starting to appear under this truck. I don't think people that live in warmer, drier climates really realize what we deal with here with the snow and the salt on the roads, but I mean, look at this thing. This was all stripped, painted with, granted, spray paint, nothing fancy, but it was like rust encapsulating primer and then like a good Rust-Oleum or Krylon, I can't remember, but brand name paints and prepped correctly and sprayed correctly. But this is just what that road salt does. Like, it's that bad. So you can see this is what happens in 2 months. The fact that this car is now 23 years old, the fact that there aren't rust holes in the frame is pretty miraculous. And under the carpet, the floors weren't rusted out. It's impressive. So this just shows that once it warms up, I'll probably be back under there and I'm gonna try to clean up that rust and see if I can do a better paint coating, because I mean, if it's gonna be a winter car, it's gotta hold up to this. But I just thought you'd find that interesting to see what 2 months of driving in the winter in Iowa will do. It's ugly and it's kind of depressing. When I first looked under there and noticed it, it was like, oh God, that's the life I chose for some reason. I still have time to move to California or something, but I don't know. I'm a Midwest guy. It made me who I am. I kind of feel like I'm destined to be here. That's all for today. We'll see you in the next clip when I'll be up to some sort of shenanigans. All right, well, welcome back for another little sidebar on the Blazer. This is the four-wheel drive module that lives behind the passenger side kick panel. And I'm assuming this is the reason that my four-wheel drive doesn't work and none of the lights come on or anything like that. And I've heard just anecdotally that these things suck and they break and people replace them from ones from junkyards and stuff. I don't know what's inside of this thing, but considering my education is in electrical engineering, I'm going to take it apart and see if I can figure it out. So you can come along for the ride and then you can find out if this is worth doing yourself or if you're going to learn from my misery. So you know it's from my car because there's mouse poop. Okay, so I'm going to give narration in between the heater turning on so you can hear me. So of course this is covered in a conformal coating to protect it, which generally is a good thing, but it makes it difficult or impossible to work on. I'm going to start by, I think that one screw is all that holds this board to the plate. Okay, nothing obvious so far. It smells like the Blazer used to smell before I cleaned it. So the whole thing's really pretty simple. Obviously this, or maybe that one too, do most of the thinking. A couple relays, a bunch of diodes. Not sure what these guys are. I assume some kind of MOSFET for switching. Oh, of course, the heat sinks are soldered on. I don't really know what I can do with this. I'm gonna spend a little time studying this off camera and I'll bring you back when, if I find anything. Well, good news for me. Bad news for General Motors, probably. This conformal coating sucks and it comes off really easily. So all I'm using is just a plastic bristle brush. And now look at this area, you can see how shiny it is. Now look, it's almost all gone. So I've just been doing that. And then I just come in with an acid brush, a little acetone, and just kind of clean it off. And you can just see how much of it has been falling out. So I'm gonna keep doing that. And then I can clean it up and do some basic troubleshooting. Assuming I can't find a schematic for this, it's going to be hard to figure out what's going on. I did find a pinout, so I know what's going into the board. And I can also just utilize some generic electrical troubleshooting that I usually apply to things, which is first step, look for anything that moves. These are mechanical relays, they move. That would be the first thing I would look at. Second thing is anything that gets hot. In this case, we have 3 devices with heat sinks, so presumably those are expected to get hot. So I will look at those next. I'm gonna start probing around on this and I'll bring you back once again. Okay, well this has not been terribly successful. I pulled the relays out and they are good. I will show you how to test those. I don't know if anybody's ever gonna do this, but just in case. So these are kind of a weird pinout. You see we got 2 over here and 3 over here. I would have assumed this is the coil. These are the contacts, but it's not, and I'm glad I looked it up. These 2 are the coil. The contacts are these 3, normally closed, normally open. So I got a little 12-volt battery here. You can see right now, from the common to that one is made. That one is not. Got the alligator clip. You can hear it clicking, and now that one's open. That one's closed. So I tested them both that way, they both work. Next thing I did, tried to look up all these parts. Hardly any of the parts on here actually cross-referenced anything. So I'm guessing that General Motors, Delco, Delphi, whoever made this, spec'd these components and ordered them from the manufacturer, and they don't exist outside of this. I'm sure there's components that would work if I needed them. It would just be a matter of figuring out what they were. I could tell this is just a big MOSFET or some sort of transistor, I'm not sure, but it appears to be good. And I don't know what that is. I thought it was the same, but it's behaving weird, so either it's a broken transistor or it's something else. This I can't find any info on, but it's got a bunch of legs, so it's not just gonna be a simple transistor. I couldn't even find these big, I assume it's some sort of processor, something. I couldn't find these. I'll put close-up photos in the numbers, but I couldn't find them yet anyway. I'll keep digging. All of these are all diodes. These are diodes, these are diodes. There's a diode over here, a couple diodes here. All of them are good. These larger flat components, these are all fuses. Those are all good. About the only thing left to check, and I might not even check it, I might just replace it because I have them, is this electrolytic capacitor. This isn't very old, but anyone who works on old electronics knows that electrolytic capacitors are usually the first component to just fail on their own, just due from age. So they're cheap, they're easy to replace. I have the right size, so I'll probably just throw in a new capacitor. But I don't have much hope in this actually being any different when I put it back in. Now, does that mean there's a problem on this board and I can't find it? Maybe. Does that mean I have a problem with my wiring? Also maybe. At least I've learned something, and I've at least answered some questions, because I always had it in the back of my mind that maybe I would open this up and there'd just be like a big burnt trace or a transistor that's exploded or something, and then it would be extremely obvious what my problem was. At least I know that's not the case. But here it is. If anybody ever wondered what a 4-wheel drive module looks like for a 4-button Blazer or an S10, I guess I'm just going to put it all back together. All right, well, I've got the module plugged back in, and the wires, the connectors all looked good, but the wires were kind of pulled out a little bit, so maybe I made a better connection. But I'm going to start it up and see if any of these lights come on, and I'm not expecting much, but we will find out. And the sun is really in my eyes, and I wish I had a sun visor. Oh well, let's see what happens. Still nothing. Neutral. Still completely dead. I guess the next step, when it's a little bit warmer, is I'll get down there and check the pins on the wiring harness and see if I have the voltages I'm expecting to have. But apparently it's still broken. Hey, what's up? So I'm driving home from work, and this car just started making the most awful noise from the rear. Now, I don't know if it's a drivetrain sound or if it's a really nasty engine sound and it's just coming out of the exhaust pipe, which exits in the rear right side. I really hope it's not something with the differential I put in. It's only like mid-February, and I was hoping to be driving this for another month. I thought it'd be kind of fun to turn the camera here, and then as I accelerate up this hill, you can hear it. It only really happens under acceleration. Just coasting, it sounds fine. But man, when you accelerate, it sounds bad. I'll wait till I get to this stop sign up here, and when I take off from the stop sign, you'll hear it. It's bad. It's hard to hear anything over all the rattles in this truck right now. I'm not sure how I'm going to get to work tomorrow. Still got one more day this week. I think it's probably a little too cold for the Vespa. It's supposed to get snow tonight. Alright, get ready, because here it comes. Bring it back when I figure out what that is. Well, something's up with my differential. Right now I've got the back of the truck up on a jack, and with the Blazer in neutral, I can turn both wheels and the drive shaft turns. But when I put it in park and I try to turn one wheel, so the other one will spin the other direction, I can stand on a breaker bar and not turn the wheel. So yeah, I guess I'm going to be tearing the Blazer back apart again. I'll keep you updated.